Why did George and Charlotte suddenly go missing? Eagle-eyed viewers spot royal siblings were absent from bridesmaids and page boys at end of ceremony. Eagle-eyed wedding viewers will have counted 10 bridesmaids and page boys following Meghan down the aisle, but by the end of the ceremony there were 2 absentees. All the youngsters were ushered into a side room for the service, but when they came out Charlotte and George, both circled in the before photo, seemed to be missing. However, the pair had actually joined their parents further behind the procession. The youngsters were then treated to a show by children's entertainers, booked by Harry and Meghan, at the reception which followed. They knew the children would get bored while all the grown-ups were partying, so they thought it made sense to have something to occupy the little ones, an aide said. The boys wore miniature versions of Prince Harry's blues and royals frock coat, made by tailors Dejan Skinner and Savile Row, while the girls were dressed in Givenchy haute couture by Claire Waite-Keller, who designed Meghan's dress. Princess Charlotte captured the hearts of the nation once again as she waved enthusiastically at crowds outside the royal wedding and cheekily stuck out her tongue as she pulled up to the church. The 3-year-old beamed as she gave a confident wave to adoring fans outside St. George's Chapel in Windsor. But her 4-year-old brother George was less keen to address the public, cowering behind his father William's legs on the steps in front of the church. Both Prince William's children were part of the wedding party, with Charlotte a bridesmaid and George a page boy. The young princess drew attention when she waved enthusiastically as the carriage with Harry and Meghan pulled away. The Duchess of Cambridge had moments earlier bent down to her daughter and said, "Look at the carriage," according to lip reader Tina Lanyon. The 6 little bridesmaids were dressed in pretty frocks and had flowers adorning their hair as they giggled and walked behind Meghan. Claire Waite-Keller, who designed the bridal gown, also designed the bridesmaids' dresses in the Givenchy haute couture atelier in Paris. They were made of ivory silk radzimmer, and were high-waisted with short puff sleeves, hand-finished with a double silk ribbon detail tied at the back in a bow. The bridesmaids' dresses included pockets and pleated skirt. Each little girl also wore a flower crown chosen by Harry and Meghan, which replicated the flowers used in the bridal bouquet. They wore white leather Akuzuri shoes, each monogrammed with the bridesmaids' initials, and the wedding date. Kensington Palace said they were a gift from Meghan as a keepsake of the special day. Charlotte stood smiling as she listened to "This Little Light of Mine" after Meghan and Harry left the chapel. Kate helped escort the 10 children into Windsor Castle, as the children were seen excitedly waving and peering out of the vintage Rolls-Royce they arrived in. The excitement of the royal wedding became too much for one bridesmaid, who started crying moments before Meghan entered the chapel. The occasion seemed to overwhelm one of the little girls, believed to be the youngest, Zélie Warren. The 2-year-old had to be picked up and comforted by Prince George and Princess Charlotte's nanny before she made her way into the church. She is one of Prince Harry's goddaughters and the daughter of one of his best friends, Jake Warren, and his wife Zoe. Harry's other goddaughter 3-year-old Florence Van Cutsem was also a bridesmaid, as well as Markle's goddaughters, sisters Rami and Rylan Litt, aged 6 and 7 respectively, and 4-year-old Ivy Mulroney, the daughter of Meghan's close friend Jessica Mulroney, were bridesmaids. The other page boys were Harry's 6-year-old godson Jasper Dyer, the son of Harry's mentor Mark Dyer, and Mrs. Mulroney's 7-year-old twin sons Brian and John Mulroney. George was dressed in a black suit and looked more nervous in front of the cameras. The 4 page boys had their initials embroidered in gold on their shoulder straps, as their memento. They wore a miniature version of the blues and royals frock coat that Harry and the Duke of Cambridge wore. Made from blue doeskin, they were single-breasted with a stand-up collar and figured braiding of regimental pattern. Their trousers were made of blue, black wool barathea with 3/4 scarlet stripes fastened with a leather strap. The uniforms were cut and made by the tailors Dejan Skinner and Savile Row. Guests turned to smile at each other after Meghan and the children made their way past each pew, perhaps approving of the sumptuous bridal gown and ethereal veil or admiring the children carrying out their duties with aplomb. The nation's hearts melted as Charlotte turned to wave at crowds outside the Lindo wing at St. Mary's Hospital in Paddington last month. Twitter users commented on her confident air, compared with her older brother's more reserved nature. She was credited with stealing the show from the new Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, 36, and her husband Prince Harry, 33. People posted on social media that Charlotte nailed that wave, calling her adorable and a delight. One user wrote, "Princess Charlotte stole the show at her Uncle Harry's wedding #RoyaleWedding." Another posted, "Princess Charlotte is a delight. She loves the people and the people love her. God, she's just amazing."